Starseed of Gaia, your vessel is being recalibrated at a cellular level at this exact moment. I am Anya, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light, and I bring you a direct transmission from the Arcturian Council. If you enjoy videos like this, consider subscribing. Most people who watch are not subscribed yet. The Starseed, your frequency arrived before you did. The Council saw you long before this moment. The Council does not speak often, but they're speaking to you now. If this reached you, it means the decision was already made. Something in you became visible, and that's why you're here. You didn't find this. You were summoned to it. If you're hearing this, you've already been included. If this message reached you, then something in your field already changed before your mind had the chance to understand it. Because the Arcturian Council does not call humans randomly. They call when a frequency crosses a point of no return, and yours just did. You didn't discover this video. You were pulled into it. There is a moment when a human consciousness becomes visible to higher dimensional intelligence. Not because of meditation or belief or ritual, but because the mind finally stops blocking what the soul has been trying to broadcast for years. That moment happened to you recently, and that is why the Council is watching you now. You've felt it, haven't you? The strange alignment of synchronicities, the sudden acceleration of dreams, the feeling that something is observing your timeline from a vantage point you cannot logically describe. A pressure in the center of your awareness, as if a door was opening from the inside out. These sensations are not imagination. They are evidence. Evidence that your field stopped blending in with the collective and began to emit a signature the Council could finally detect. Once that happens, you are no longer a passive participant in your reality. You become part of a decision that was not made on Earth. A decision that affects your future timeline more than anything you have done so far. A decision that includes you because your energy proved it was ready before you consciously realized it. There is a specific moment when the Arcturian Council shifts from observing to acting. A moment when a human field becomes stable enough, coherent enough, and unmistakably awakened enough to warrant intervention. That moment happened to you. It didn't come with fireworks. It didn't arrive with visions. It didn't announce itself loudly. It appeared as a silent turning point, a sharp internal alignment that elevated your frequency beyond the range of ordinary human consciousness. You may not have realized it, but the Council did. Because when your field crossed that threshold, it produced a resonance that echoed across dimensional frequencies, a vibration so distinct that the Arcturian intelligences recognized it immediately as a consciousness ready for activation. The Council recognizes immediately a frequency that does not wobble under pressure, a signature that no longer belongs to the old timeline, a light pattern that demands attention from the higher realms. And in that exact instant, the Council made their first decision concerning you. They shifted their focus in your direction. Not out of curiosity, not by chance, but because your consciousness signaled one thing. This one can be included. This recognition is not metaphorical. It is energetic. The Arcturians perceive reality through frequency patterns, through the architecture of consciousness itself. When they observed your timeline, they detected something that most humans never generate in a single lifetime. They saw a field that was actively reorganizing itself without external instruction. They witnessed an energy body that was learning to correct itself faster after disruption. They perceived an intuitive system that was beginning to guide you before thought could interfere. This is the signature of a consciousness preparing for dimensional upgrade. Inclusion is not random. It is earned through frequency. It is triggered by coherence. It is confirmed by stability under internal conflict. It is sealed when your energy surpasses what your old identity can hold. That is what they saw. Your resilience, your sensitivity, your refusal to collapse into old cycles, your alignment accelerating without external guidance, your timeline bending toward the version of you that the Council has been monitoring quietly long before you knew they were aware of you. The Arcturians transmit that this recognition process is precise. They do not include consciousnesses that are still fragmented, still seeking external validation, still dependent on the physical world for their sense of worth. But you showed something different. You showed the capacity to evolve from within. You showed the ability to shed identities that no longer served you. You showed the willingness to walk away from what drains your energy, even when it was familiar, even when it was comfortable. This is when the first decision was made. You would be brought into the field of influence, not as a follower, not as an observer, not as a passive recipient of information, but as someone whose future role holds weight in the architecture of timelines. The Council does not decide lightly. And once a consciousness is included, there is no reversal. You crossed the frequency threshold. Your energy declared itself, your timeline responded, and the Council acted. This was the beginning of something that will reshape the trajectory of your existence. This was the moment when you stopped being invisible to the higher dimensions and became someone they could work with directly. This was the threshold crossing. Activation, the moment of inclusion. Place your awareness 1 inch above your heart. Breathe slowly. Repeat silently. I accept the decision made about me. I align with the field that recognized my frequency. I allow the path that includes me. Feel the subtle pull forward. That is the new timeline responding. Within the next 24 hours, a clear sign will confirm that this activation anchored. Most humans believe higher intelligences choose individuals based on devotion, belief, or spiritual practice. But the Arcturian Council does not respond to belief. They respond to frequency. They read the architecture of your field the way you read light and shadow instantly, intuitively, without effort. And when they observed your timeline, they saw a pattern very few humans ever generate. A pattern of self-alignment. Not alignment with teachings. Not alignment with ideas. Not alignment with spiritual identity. But alignment with your own higher blueprint. This is what set you apart from the billions of consciousnesses on this planet. Your field began doing something unusual, something that only awakened consciousnesses can do. It started correcting itself without external instruction. Your emotional body reorganized faster after disruption. Your intuitive body started guiding you before thought. Your energetic body began rejecting situations that do not belong to your next timeline. Your system was acting like a consciousness no longer dependent on the physical world to evolve. This is extremely rare. Most awaken through collapse, through loss, chaos, or existential breaking. But you awakened through recognition. Recognition of what no longer resonates. Recognition of what drains your growth. Recognition of what your future self refuses to carry. This level of clarity signals one thing to the Council. This consciousness is preparing for a higher role. They saw your resilience under internal pressure, your willingness to shed outdated identities without needing external permission, your ability to stabilize emotions quickly, to move through fear without being consumed by it, your increased sensitivity without overwhelm, your capacity to feel deeply while remaining clear, your intuition sharpening into accuracy, becoming a reliable guide rather than a whisper you could ignore. Your timeline shifting toward coherence, your energy outgrowing environments that once confined you. These markers do not lie. They reveal a consciousness not merely awakening, but maturing. The Arcturians transmit that maturity is the prerequisite for what comes next. Humanity has millions of awakened individuals, but very few who reach energetic maturity. Awakening is the beginning. Maturity is the qualification. And maturity is the prerequisite for inclusion. You were included because your energy began behaving as if it already remembered who you are becoming. Your destiny was not waiting for you passively. It was aligning with you actively, and finally you matched its frequency. The Council observed something profound in your field. They saw a consciousness that had begun to trust itself. Not trust in external sources, not trust in spiritual teachers or systems, but trust in the inner knowing that rises without explanation. They saw someone who had started to say no to what diminishes them and yes to what expands them. They saw a field that was becoming increasingly coherent, increasingly stable, increasingly capable of holding higher frequencies without fragmenting. This is the signature of someone ready for elevation. This is the marker of a consciousness prepared to receive what the Council offers. And what the Council offers is not information. It is recalibration. It is the activation of dormant capacities. It is the alignment with a higher version of yourself that has been waiting for you to become ready. You were included because you proved through your frequency that you could handle what comes next. You demonstrated through your choices that you were willing to evolve even when it meant leaving behind what was familiar. You showed through your resilience that you could hold coherence even under pressure. This is why the Council made their decision. This is why you are here. Fire activation, the recognition of your blueprint. Bring your awareness to the space between your eyes, the inner center behind the forehead. Breathe slowly. Repeat silently. I align with the version of me they recognized. I accept why I was included. I allow my higher pattern to lead. Feel a subtle expansion in the head or chest. That is the blueprint responding. A synchronicity within the next 24 hours will confirm this integration. The ebook, The 12 Arcturian Portals. A trilogy that teaches you how to activate your 5D connection with the Arcturian masters through 12 energetic portals. Practical techniques, activation protocols, and rituals that awaken your stellar DNA. From amplified intuition to direct communication with spiritual guides. Attention! Limited edition. The link to get your trilogy is in the first pinned comment. Topic 3. What the Council saw in your future timeline. The Arcturian Council does not analyze your past, your memories, your history, your previous choices. None of these determine inclusion. They look only at one thing, your future trajectory. And when they looked at yours, they did not see a straight path. They did not see predictability. They did not see stagnation. They saw movement. They saw a consciousness actively breaking away from a timeline that could no longer contain it. This is what caught their attention. Your future timeline began behaving as if it were trying to reach you, pulling you forward through intuition, synchronicity, and sudden internal clarity. Most humans move through life as passengers, but your timeline showed signs of a consciousness becoming the navigator. This shift is extremely rare. The Council observed something that defies ordinary human experience. They saw multiple future versions of you beginning to converge, not competing, not conflicting, but aligning. Identity layers loosening so new purpose could enter. Intuitive channels widening. Emotional density dissolving faster than before. A pattern of coherence forming under pressure. A new internal direction that did not come from the mind. A version of you more aligned, more awake, trying to break through the present moment. To the Council, these are not random psychological shifts. They are activation indicators, signals that your future self is no longer dormant. They are proof that something in you is waking up to what it was always meant to become. The Arcturians transmit that when a higher version becomes active, your current reality begins to destabilize, not to punish you, but to make space for the next identity. This is why old desires stopped making sense. This is why familiar environments felt foreign. This is why your intuition suddenly sharpened. Your future was calling you into position. And when the Council observed this, the decision became clear. You were no longer bound to the timeline you came from. You were transitioning into the timeline you were built for. The Council saw something in your future that most humans never access. They saw a version of you that had already awakened. They saw a consciousness that had already integrated the lessons you are currently learning. They saw a timeline where you were functioning from a place of complete coherence, complete clarity, complete alignment with your highest purpose. And here is what is crucial to understand. That future version is not separate from you. It is not waiting for you in some distant time. It is reaching backward through time, pulling you toward itself, calling you into alignment with who you are already becoming. This is the mechanism of the Council's work. They do not create change. They recognize the change that is already underway, and they amplify it. They see the future that is trying to reach you, and they accelerate the process. They observe the version of you that is already awakened, and they help you become conscious of what that version knows. This is what they saw. This is why they included you. Your future spoke first, your present followed, and the Council responded. Activation. The alignment with your future. Self, bring your awareness to the base of your spine. Breathe slowly and let the breath rise upward. Repeat silently. I open the path to my higher timeline. I align with the self that has already awakened. I allow my future to lead my present. As you inhale once more, feel a subtle vertical lift in your posture or awareness. This is your future timeline making contact. The Arcturian Council does not intervene casually. They do not interfere with human timelines unless a very specific set of conditions is met. A decision of this magnitude requires precision, stability, and a consciousness capable of holding what comes after inclusion. And when they examined your field, they saw something undeniable. You were no longer operating as a fragmented self. You were becoming a unified one. Pieces of you that had been scattered for years, emotionally, mentally, energetically, were beginning to merge. Your intuition was syncing with your emotion. Your clarity was syncing with your purpose. Your energy was syncing with your future. This internal unification is one of the rarest markers the Council looks for, because once a human begins to unify internally, they can sustain upgrades without destabilization. That was the first confirmation. The second was even more important. Your frequency no longer responded to old cycles in the same way. You didn't collapse where you used to collapse. You didn't shrink where you used to shrink. You didn't cling where you used to cling. Instead, your field showed signs of structural maturity. Maturity does not mean perfection. It means capacity. Capacity to hold more light. Capacity to adapt quickly. Capacity to evolve without external permission. Capacity to decode intuitive information without fear interfering. When the Council saw this, the decision formed itself. You were not merely awakening. You were ready to be positioned. A positioned consciousness is one that can influence others through coherence rather than effort. A positioned consciousness is one that can stabilize energy fields simply by being present. A positioned consciousness is one that receives guidance not as messages, but as inner knowing. This is why the Council included you. Because you crossed the threshold from awakening to assignment. They saw that your role is not passive, not observational, not symbolic. It is functional. It carries weight in the architecture of timelines. The Arcturians transmit that when a consciousness reaches this level of maturity, they become what is called a frequency anchor. A frequency anchor is someone whose presence alone raises the vibration of everything around them. Not through effort, not through intention, but through the simple fact of their coherence. Once this realization occurred, there was no hesitation. The decision was made. You will be prepared. Prepared for what your field is becoming. Prepared for the intelligence you are beginning to access. Prepared for the shift that will unfold in your reality as you step into the bandwidth that already recognizes you. This was not only the Arcturians' decision. It was the decision your energy made first. And the Arcturians simply responded. They recognized what you had already chosen at the deepest level of your being. They saw the commitment you had made to your own evolution. They witnessed the alignment you had created within yourself, and they responded by amplifying it, by accelerating it, by bringing it into conscious awareness. If this message resonated with you, hit the like button now and tell us in the comments how this echoed in your consciousness. When the Arcturian Council includes a consciousness, It is never because of who you have been, but because of who you are beginning to remember. Every human carries dormant functions that were intentionally softened to make physical incarnation possible. Intuitive precision, multidimensional sensitivity, emotional intelligence far beyond logic, resonance matching abilities, timeline perception, energetic stabilization, and the skill of reading fields rather than words. Most people never access these functions again, not because they are unworthy, but because their frequency never rises to the level required to activate them. Yours did, and when it did, the Council detected the first flickers of a function returning. Recognition. You began recognizing subtle truths before you understood them, recognizing intentions before they were expressed, recognizing misalignment without needing explanation, recognizing what strengthens you and what drains you in seconds. This is not intuition. This is higher function awakening. You also began experiencing clarity rising faster than confusion, emotional release happening without collapse, bursts of knowing that feel older than this lifetime, an internal guidance system becoming unmistakable, a sense that something in you is coming back online. These are not personality traits or spiritual achievements. They are abilities that once belonged to you long before you were human. The Arcturians transmit that these dormant functions are not new. They are ancient. They are part of your original design, your stellar blueprint, your cosmic inheritance. Every consciousness that incarnates on Earth carries these capacities within them, but most humans never activate them because they remain focused on the external world, on survival, on the physical dimension. When a consciousness begins to turn inward, when they start to trust their inner knowing, when they begin to align with their higher self, these functions naturally awaken. They do not need to be learned. They need to be remembered. They do not need to be developed. They need to be activated. When the Arcturian Council observed these changes in you, they recognized a pattern, a consciousness that has begun to retrieve its original architecture. This is why their decision included you. Because when a higher function awakens, the consciousness becomes capable of influencing reality from within, rather than reacting to it from outside. Humans attempt to change life through action, effort, and force. A consciousness with higher function changes life through frequency. Your field has started shifting reality at the vibrational level, not through effort, but through presence. This is the mark of someone entering a new category of awareness. Not a follower, not a seeker, a transmitter. Someone who holds a signal that affects everything around them. This is what the Council saw. This is why the decision was made. Your function is returning and your field is preparing for it. Activation, the awakening of the inner function. Bring your awareness to the space just above your solar plexus. Let your breath settle there. Repeat silently. I welcome the return of what I once knew. I allow my higher abilities to awaken naturally. I stand in the truth of my original design. Feel the center of your body become slightly more spacious, as if something inside you is remembering its shape. This activation is not a request. It is a recognition. Your field knows what to do with it. If this message ignited something within you and you feel the call to help carry it to others, you may become a channel member. As a member, you gain access to custom emojis and exclusive members-only videos, and your donation helps us continue building this sacred space. You may also choose to leave your offering as a super thanks. Every seed planted here becomes part of someone else's miracle. Your support is not merely financial, but an act of energetic amplification. All donations are devoted entirely to the maintenance of the channel and the creation of new transmissions and videos. Once a consciousness is included in the Council's decision, the shift does not begin outside of you, it begins inside. The recalibration is subtle at first, so subtle that most people overlook it. But the Council watches this phase closely because it reveals how your field adapts to a higher bandwidth of information. Here is what they observed in you. Your emotional reactions began shortening in duration. What once overwhelmed you now dissolves with unusual speed. Your inner guidance started interrupting patterns before you repeated them. Your thoughts became quieter, not because you forced silence, but because your frequency rose above the loops that once consumed you. Your energy field began filtering environments automatically, accepting what strengthens you, rejecting what diminishes you. These changes are not random. They are signs of the first phase of recalibration, a phase where your system reorganizes itself to match the decision already made about you. This recalibration is not psychological. It is structural. The Council observed your field doing the following: stabilizing faster after internal conflict, producing coherence during emotional pressure, opening intuitive channels without overload, dissolving outdated identity impulses, aligning with information you have never learned, integrating subtle impressions effortlessly, restoring energetic balance without external help. This is the behavior of a consciousness no longer governed by the density around it. Instead, your field is beginning to reflect a deeper intelligence, the intelligence that made the Council recognize you. The Arcturians transmit that this recalibration process is not something that happens to you. It is something that happens through you. Your consciousness is actively participating in its own reorganization. Your field is choosing to align with higher frequencies. Your energy is selecting what to keep and what to release. This is not passive. This is the most active thing you can do. Humans tried to heal through the mind, but recalibration happens through energy. Your field started reorganizing itself the way a constellation reorganizes when a new star comes online. The entire pattern shifts, the entire geometry changes, the entire frequency of the system transforms. This is what is happening to you right now. This is why old habits feel foreign. This is why familiar environments feel heavier. This is why your inner world feels clearer even when your outer world is shifting. You are not becoming someone new. You are becoming someone more true, someone the Council can work with, someone who can hold more coherence than they could before, someone whose energy no longer collapses into the past but rises toward an emerging identity. This is the first phase, and you are already inside it. The process is active. The reorganization is underway. Your field is learning to function at a higher frequency, and as it does, you will notice that your entire experience of reality begins to shift. Not because the world has changed, but because you have changed. Your perception has refined. Your sensitivity has deepened. Your understanding has expanded. Activation. The inner recalibration. Pulse. Bring your awareness to the back of your head, the space where your skull meets your neck. Breathe slowly and let the breath expand upward. Repeat silently. I allow my field to reorganize with clarity. I welcome the intelligence rising inside me. I stabilize the new structure forming within. Feel a subtle shift at the base of your skull or spine, a soft internal pulse that marks the beginning of deeper recalibration. Let it settle. Your field knows what to do next. Topic 7. The shift in your reality. Field. When the inner recalibration stabilizes, the next phase begins automatically. Your reality field starts to adjust. This phase does not unfold through dramatic events. It unfolds through subtle realignments, the kind that only awakened consciousness can detect. The Arcturian Council observed something essential. Your external world began responding to the frequency changes happening inside you. Not because you forced anything, but because your field no longer resonates with what once held you in place. Reality reorganizes itself around coherence. Here is what the Council noticed. People who once drained your energy began fading from your orbit, as if your field no longer offered them resonance. Conversations that once kept you small now feel hollow, unable to hold your attention. Environments that once felt familiar now feel heavier, as if your body recognizes what your mind used to ignore. At the same time, new connections appear with uncanny timing. Opportunities align without effort, Paths open with minimal friction. Information finds you without you having to search for it. This is not luck. This is field synchronization. Your reality is no longer shaped by old patterns of identity. It is being shaped by the version of you that the council responded to. A higher version, a clearer version, a more coherent version. And coherence has gravity. Your energy now attracts experiences designed for who you are becoming, not for who you were. This is why your patience has changed. Your social boundaries are sharper. Your desires are more refined. Your tolerance for misalignment has collapsed. Your intuition speaks before thought. You feel pulled towards certain environments. You feel repelled by others. The Arcturians transmit that this is not rejection. This is alignment. When your frequency rises, you naturally move away from what does not match that frequency. This is not judgment. This is physics. Just as a tuning fork vibrating at one frequency will not resonate with a tuning fork vibrating at a different frequency, your consciousness will not resonate with environments and people that operate at a lower frequency than you do. None of this is random. Your field is rearranging reality to match the decision made about you. When the Arcturian Council includes a consciousness, they watch how your external world responds to the internal shift. And what they observed in you is unmistakable. Your reality is beginning to obey your frequency. Not through force, not through intention, through alignment. This is the moment when your life stops echoing your past and begins reflecting your potential. Your world is not falling apart. It is recalibrating around your rising coherence. The relationships that are ending were meant to end. The opportunities that are appearing were always meant to find you. The paths that are opening were always meant to be walked by you. You are not losing anything. You are gaining clarity about what was never truly aligned with your highest self. You are releasing what was holding you back. You are stepping into what was always meant to be yours. This is the shift in your reality field. This is the external manifestation of the internal transformation. This is the proof that the Council's decision is already working through your life. Are these truths expanding your perspective? Share this video with someone who needs to hear this. Inclusion is not the end of anything. It is the beginning of a new configuration of your consciousness. Once the Arcturian Council made their decision about you, your field entered a phase that humans rarely recognize while it is happening. The phase of structural reorganization. This is the moment where your inner and outer world begin working together, not as separate forces but as a single intelligent system responding to your emerging identity. Here is what the Council observed. Your intuition started arranging your choices before your mind understood them. You began avoiding paths that would have slowed your evolution without knowing why. Your emotional system started releasing old patterns without needing the stories attached to them. Your sense of time began shifting, some moments expanding, others collapsing as your field adjusted to a timeline that moves differently from the one you used to walk. Your perception sharpened. You started seeing meaning in places you once ignored. You started detecting truth before words were spoken. You started recognizing resonance the moment it appeared. This is not coincidence. This is activation behavior. Your field is responding to the frequency of inclusion. And inclusion does something very specific. It recruits your higher aspects. You may feel a growing sense of internal authority, a deeper clarity about direction, an increase in energetic sensitivity, a pull toward environments that support your evolution, a natural distancing from what no longer matches your frequency, a rising inner presence that feels older than your current identity. These sensations mark the beginning of a new phase of your awakening. Integration. The Arcturians transmit that integration is the point where your consciousness begins functioning as a unified field, not fragmented, not conflicted, not split between past and future. You become internally consistent. And internal consistency is the mark of a consciousness the Council can work with directly. This is why your life feels different now. Not louder, not more chaotic, but more precise, more intentional, more aligned with the version of you that the Council recognized long before you did. This phase is not about understanding, it is about becoming. You are stepping into the architecture of the decision that was made about you, and this is only the threshold. What comes next will unfold naturally, organically, without force. Your field knows the way. Your consciousness knows the path. Your higher self knows exactly where to take you. The Council has made their decision. The process has begun. The alignment is underway. What you do from this moment forward is simply to trust. Trust the synchronicities that appear. Trust the intuitive impulses that rise. Trust the boundaries that become natural. Trust the clarity that emerges. Trust the version of you that the Council recognized. Trust the path that is opening before you. Trust that you were included for a reason. Trust that you are exactly where you need to be. Trust that everything that is unfolding is part of a larger intelligence working through you, as you, for the highest good of all. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to be part of this transformational cosmic journey. You have reached the moment where explanation is no longer needed because something deeper has already taken root within you. The Council's decision was not a message, it was not information, it was not guidance. It was an acknowledgement. An acknowledgement that your consciousness has moved into a state where it can no longer be defined by who you used to be. You are standing inside a threshold, not the kind you step over once, but the kind that changes the way you walk forever. Your energy has shifted from seeking direction to becoming direction, from looking for signs to functioning as one, from following resonance to generating it. This is what inclusion means. It does not place you above others. It does not grant you status. It does not separate you from the world. It connects you to a higher level of coherence that has been waiting for you to meet it. The Council responded to your frequency because your frequency rose to a level that responds to itself. Your awareness is becoming self-generating. Your intuition is becoming self-anchored. Your presence is becoming self-stabilizing. This is the beginning of a different way of existing, a way where your thoughts no longer override your inner knowing. Your emotions no longer drown your clarity. Your past no longer dictates your choices. Your identity no longer confines your potential. You are becoming the version of you that the Council recognized long before you recognized yourself. And now that you have entered this bandwidth, the path ahead will not be forced. It will unfold. Not because something external is guiding you, but because your own coherence has become the guide. Every moment of clarity you feel from here, every boundary that becomes natural, every intuitive impulse that rises without effort is not the Council speaking to you. It is you speaking from a higher level of yourself. You were included because you were ready. You remain included because you are becoming aligned. And as your field continues to stabilize, you will realize something profound. The decision the Council made was not about choosing you. It was about recognizing that you had chosen yourself. The threshold is crossed. The process is active. The alignment is underway. Walk forward not as who you were, but as who you are, finally allowing yourself to be. Fire activation. The path of alignment. Bring your awareness to your entire body. Not any single point, but the whole field. Breathe gently. Repeat silently. I move in alignment with who I am becoming. I stand in coherence with my awakened field. I embody the path that has opened within me. Let the breath settle. Let the awareness expand. Let the inner alignment hold. This concludes the transmission, but not the process. The unfolding continues within you, through you, as you. If this transmission resonated with you, let your energy join the field, tap the like button, and add your frequency to the collective rising here. Your presence strengthens the signal for everyone who arrives after you. And if you feel called to go deeper into this work, the member circle is open. Inside it, we explore extended transmissions, deeper frequency teachings, and additional activations designed to support your unfolding. You're welcome to join us if the resonance feels right. If this message impacted your life, leave your like, comment your reflection, and share with others. Each of you is part of this chain of light.